Hi church, welcome once again to the Pastor Speaks as we continue to embark on this journey towards becoming missional families. Last week, Pastor Kia Singh started us off with the importance of becoming missional families, and he explained that there are 5 aspects in becoming missional family. We start off with missional families are nurturing families. And when we look at nurturing families, we're looking at 3 different levels that we need to focus on. That is ourselves, our immediate family, our inner circle, and then the extended family or our small group, which is the outer circle. Over the next 4 weeks, we'll be looking at nurturing families throughout difficult times. Nurturing family means we turn our homes or our small group into a discipleship center where we become disciple as we disciple our inner circle and our outer circle to become disciples of others. What is the definition of nurture? The definition of nurture is to care and protect for others while they are growing, and also to help or encourage the development of someone or something. So basically, when we talk about nurturing, we're looking at how can we develop someone to grow into becoming a better person. Today we want to start off with the topic of nurturing ourselves. I feel that self-care, improving ourselves in growing is key in the process of nurture. If you want to lead or help someone to grow, we first have to put on our own oxygen mask. We first have to nurture ourselves, to grow ourselves, to improve ourselves. Then we can help to nurture others. We first have to disciple ourselves. Then we are able to disciple others. Nurturing self involves 3 different aspects, which is the physical, spiritual, and emotional. Today we're just going to look briefly at all these 3 aspects. The first part is to nurture ourselves in our physical well-being. That means to really take care of ourselves, to take care of our health, to take care of our body. We know that our body is the temple of God. To exercise frequently, to ensure that we are eating healthily, to sleep well, and of course not forgetting to also keep our hygiene. I think before all this MCO, my wife used to constantly remind myself and my kids that we need to always wash our hands, wash our feet wherever we come into the house or whatever we're going to do, or especially when we're eating, to always keep clean. But today she doesn't have to remind us anymore, because this has become a norm in our lifestyle that we need to keep our hygiene. And then like so, we need to always watch over our health. We need to always watch over our physical well-being, because it plays an important role in our self-nurturing, in our growth. It affects our spiritual, and it also affects our emotional. The next one is to nurture yourself spiritually. I think we are very familiar with the phrase, read your Bible, pray every day. This is something that we talk to our kids, talk to the children every day, and reading our Bible and praying every day. As simple as it sounds, sometimes we neglect this. And this is sometimes a big challenge for us as believers, for us as disciples. But this is something that is truly important, and we have heard it over the pulpit over and over and over again, because it's key. It's key in nurturing and growing spiritually. Not forgetting in worshiping God as well. And in these days as well, we can also continue to nurture our spiritual with so many contents that are available online. We can start to watch sermons, we can start to watch Bible studies online. We need to really grow ourselves spiritually if we want to be disciples. We want to be a disciple and want to disciple others. And the third aspect is to nurture ourselves emotionally. And that basically means to engage ourselves in really healthy relationships, which means spending time with our family and friends, developing healthy habits, ensuring that we have quality time to ourselves, and most importantly, to have a really balanced work, life, and play time. We tend to forget our emotion, and one thing that is obvious during this MCO is that the emotional nature, the emotional part of our well-being is truly a key part in really growing well. In nurturing self, we need to realize that none of us are perfect, that all of us have a room to grow, whether it's in the physical, spiritual, or emotional. Whether we are a newborn Christian, a 5-year-old Christian, or a 20-year-old Christian. Whether we are a normal member, a leader, a pastor, or even an elder, that none of us are perfect, and all of us need to constantly seek in growing, in nurturing ourselves. Even professional athletes never stop training in growing or nurturing their physical abilities. And I want to introduce to you the acronym of HAT this morning, which is key. I find key as key values for us to continually nurture ourselves into being better disciples, better disciplers, and that is to be humble and teachable. Humble and teachable. Two very important characteristics for us in nurturing ourselves, two vital characteristics in our growth as a disciple. At the moment we start to lack in either being humble or teachable, and we'll start to see pride stepping in, and our walk as a disciple start to plateau or even be declined. In John chapter 15 verse 1 and verse 5, it talks about Jesus being the vine and we are the branches, and the Father is the gardener. And I think this is a true picture on nurturing ourselves, where we are connected to Christ, at the same time allowing God the Father to nurture us, to take care of us, to prune and then remove unwanted parts in our life to ensure that we are continuing to grow and to bear fruit. All of us go through different struggles and challenges in life. And I think most of the time as we go through these struggles, as we dig deep and then cry out unto God, He will bring us through out of these circumstances. And oftentimes as we go through and we see God's hands of blessing, of deliverance in these struggles, it becomes a personal testimony for each and every one of us. And we glorify God's name, and we glorify how God has brought us through. But I want us to not just stop there, not just stop at making it as a personal testimony, but to look deeper into the circumstances. What is it that God wanted me to learn out of the challenges that I go through? Make it as a process of self-nurturing, because I feel in almost all the challenges that we go through, there's part of us that probably needs also to be changed. Part of us that God is trying to tell us, that you need to be pruned. Some things in our life that needed to be removed, and only when we start to look deep into those issues can we really grow and be a better disciple. And just like John 15 says, while we are connected to Christ, God the Father is our gardener. He is the one that is going to reveal to us what needs to be changed, what things that needs to be cut off from our life. Now, during the MCO, I myself had gone through some struggles as well, with all the changes and adapting that we needed to take place. I was really affected emotionally, and of course it affected my spiritual and physical as well, and it caused me great stress in how I behave, and it affected not just myself but those around me as well. And of course, as I dig deep and look to God towards all of this, He really brought me that peace and comfort once again. But at the same time, I knew that God also spoke to me and told me that, Jeremy, you needed to change this area of your life. And it was very clear that He wanted me to really remove certain parts of certain characteristics within me, in order for me to really grow into being a better person. Of course, it's not an overnight thing. But at the same time, I know that this is something that God really wanted me to do, that I needed to do to improve, to further develop as a person, to further develop as a pastor as well. And then I think this is something that we all need to look at, in times of our difficulty, times of struggle. What is it that I can grow? What are the lessons that I can take from here, that I can nurture myself? So today, even as we continue to look at how we can nurture ourselves, I want us to ponder upon these two things. Number one is that, as we spoke, that in self-nurturing, that it involves the physical, spiritual, and emotional. Can we look at, which area are we truly lacking in this? In which area can we really focus on to grow more? And number two, in some of the challenges that you have been through, what are some of the things that you need to change? What are the character or habits that needs to be pruned, to be cut off? Now let us allow God, and as He uses the circumstances around us as well, to help us to nurture ourselves and to really grow into being a better person as we move forward towards being missional families and homes that are disciple making.